The topic today is we're going to talk about the digital transformation of the steel industry. Not only the construction part, but the entire steel industry related to the AEC industry, the architectural, engineering, and construction industry. And I'm happy to have a nice panel here, which is pretty diverse. We have from the manufacturing side, we have somebody from the project management side, we have architects and going all the way through construction, and we have two eminent structural engineers. So we'll be able to cover it from like a full life cycle of the project, starting from the manufacturing of the steel, designing of the architectural, how it comes together. So all aspects of this project and this steel industry is transforming because of digitization. I guess digital practice or digitization is nothing but leveraging the information that we already have, using technology, by making use of designers and contractors, by their knowledge, innovation. But the most important thing is that it should bring value. So what I think it is not is, it's not just like a push of a button or not doing some cool stuff just for the sake of it, but it has to be something that brings value to the process on the entire ecosystem of a steel project. So with that, since we have a diverse panel, what I thought is maybe we could start from the manufacturing side, sir, if you can, and just talking about how digitization you've seen has changed the industry in the maybe past 5-10 years, or what you see is happening right now.
I think the major, as you have been correct, that over the past maybe 5-10 years, the digitization has taken pace. But what has actually gained pace has been in the last 2 years of the COVID, right. That because of a lot of this non-physical working, there's a lot of things that we have actually moved into a more of a digital sort of, yeah. So starting from, say, the material sampling that we use, because in steel, what we do is that a lot of it is coking coal that we import from the Australia and countries like that. And similarly, there's a lot of raw materials in terms of iron ore, which is not there at the plant level. So starting from those sampling, which was earlier being done manually, to the entire process of manufacturing, there's been a lot of improvements in terms of the digitalization of the year. From a customer perspective also, it has so happened that a lot of our customers are now able to access an online portal in which they are able to know their complete order status. And in terms of that we have been starting, so if you key in an order with us, then you will be able to know that where is the raw material at what particular stage. Each of the vehicles which now move are fitted with GPS, so you are able to know that where the vehicle is. And similarly, a lot of these in our retail options that we had, a lot of online options have now been introduced, wherein an individual house builder can actually book a ton of steel through our portal, and we ensure that it gets delivered to their area. The other aspect is that we are also into cement. And in cement, we have done that. We have now introduced 5 kg packets, and instead of the normal 50 kg, yeah. And those 5 kg packets are now available even through Amazon. Okay. And you can, in fact, so you don't need to buy a 50 kg sort of a packet to, if you have a small repair at your house, and you can actually order it online and get it delivered. So these are the aspects in which the manufacturers have actually moved on.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think you said it right. Because of COVID and the pandemic and the lockdown, that has kind of accelerated the process of digitization. Yes. You're absolutely right, and innovation as well. Yes. And I think even in the government's case, I guess the Digital India, one of the missions of the current government, it was kind of to impact or leverage technology for the development of the society. And I think this pandemic, and with all different forms like digital payments and everything, so everything is kind of coming together. Yeah, thank you for that. So I guess from that, maybe let's move to the architectural side. Bhupendra, I think you're kind of in a unique position. You're an architect, and you kind of seen the project all the way to the life cycle till construction. So from that standpoint, what do you say? Same question as sir, I guess. From in the past few years, what have you seen, or currently in the past couple of years maybe, and how digitization has been kind of transforming your area of business.
Yeah. So, good evening, everybody. So, we are now sitting very nearby to an iconic structure here in Delhi, that is Lotus Temple. So, if I talk about digitization in my present era, and if I compare the situation then, I do remember the interview of Faribus Sahaba, who was the key mind or the designer of this Lotus Temple. So he explained about his struggle to convince the structural engineers and the other stakeholders of this design to follow the petal design. I wish if that period, if the digitization things and the innovations which we are having like today was available, I'm sure that struggle was minimized and even there was no struggle. Because today, if we are designing, earlier we saw one presentation from Tata Structura and they explained about notions. In Notions, if you see all the winner designs, every design is parametric design, and I'm sure not possible without digitization. If I see digitization, so this means for precision, it means for lot of innovations, and it gives us hand to present it, even if we are sitting in far end corner, which is like not accessible, and if I need to present that to my other client, as we were like listening to the the all these online things and the tools and other methodology which we got adopted and which we got much more into this market because of this corona and all this pandemic. So lot of aspects of digitization, whether it is design, it is very easy. It is very easy to precise, very easy to create parametric designs which were like, kind of just concepts few earlier or few decades back. And now it is very easy to design into that. And then if we think about steel, it is always thought of like all these rigid straight lines. And that's what exactly the derivative structures were there decades back. But now, even if it is steel, it is having all the articulated forms, it is having all the designs which were just a matter of thought few years back. Thank you.
All right, thank you. No, I think that's a good perspective. And you mentioned about the models and parametric modeling. I think we'll come to that once we hear from the structural engineers in the house. So Gupta sir, why don't you go first and give us your take from a structural engineering standpoint. What do you have to say? So same kind of question.
Good evening, all the eminent people and my fellow panelists. Digitization in the steel industry, I'll take it a little back. Digitization in the construction industry. When we say steel industry, it is a part of the construction industry. I could really collect some very good information from the internet. What my friends have said is very correct, that when we are moving from the actual physical, to the all possible virtual fronts, we are really entering into a digital world. Whatever can be done off-site with all proper controls and feelings, that is the digitization. But whatever has to be physical, means if I have to fabricate, I have to fabricate. If I have to construct and erect, I have to do that. But if I have to monitor that work, then that can be done sitting remotely at any place with the aid of several tools, technologies and sensors. I'll just read out a wonderful paragraph which will give a very good insight into how we are entering from current scenario, which was, as he said, 2 years have been very instrumental, the COVID era, where we have realized the importance of working remotely. The formerly so-called brick and mortar industry is entering the digital age. We were from brick and mortar industry. The digital push is accelerating, and even if construction industry players are still confused and hesitant about the change and new technologies, the time has come for them to develop a real digital strategy. This discussion, I am sure, will pave a road for that. Many players have created innovation labs and launched proof of concept explorations, often through local business unit initiatives, to test possible options and to remain open to possibilities without investing too heavily. That is a plus point. those local experiences are not sufficient anymore to ensure success in the future and to be on the top of the wave for the years to come. It is important to note that while the necessary digital evaluation can be a threat if not approached properly, this is very important. In the digital world, you are sitting remotely and coordinating with many agencies together, so you have to be very careful in receiving the ideas, receiving the responses, analyzing them, interpreting them properly. It is mainly a land of opportunities both regarding cost efficiency as well as regarding top-line client experience, improvement and offer differentiation. Client expectations are very important in the digital world. How? That I'll explain. Market player positions and values will be deeply impacted if today's leading players don't catch the ball in time. So this is the background that we have to enter into the digital world, digitization of the construction industry with all coordinated efforts right from concept, material selection, procurement, as a structural engineer, in getting the input data from all my manufacturer friends and validating them, sitting in my office and using them in the analysis and design without really going or without really coming those people to my office showing the samples. So I get a whole world of new material and then able to use them in my design. That design is also now integrated design with the aid of 3D platforms, where BIM is a great tool. There are several platforms. I'll not name anyone specifically, but we all are very well aware of the building information modeling, which does not consider any object as a symbolic object, but that models that particular thing as an real object and helps me to model the properties, the shape, everything in an integrated and coordinated way, and the output will then be ready for manufacturing and for the field. I'll continue once Nitin takes up the next aspect of this particular digitization when it turns out from here to the actual execution.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, fellow panelists. I mean, everyone's covered most of the things that I wanted to say about. So what I will do is, I've listed down certain advantages that we have seen through digitization in the steel industry. I've jotted it down during the earlier sessions that we've had, and I'll just read that out to you. So there are many, many advantages, but just few of them which I noted down, that through digitization, we can make tailor-made section sizes and shapes, which is very, very useful in steel construction. We can get very, very high accuracy levels, very high precision levels can be achieved. Connections can be made much, much more better, and it helps a lot. There's a lot of reduction in self-weight. In one of the presentations, we were seeing that there is reduction in steel, which ultimately results in reduction in carbon print. Better quality control is there, and a faster construction period is drastically reduced, as a result of which the turnaround time is there. It's reduced, and there's a lot of savings in terms that you can use a facility much, much more earlier than planned under normal construction scenario. And last but not the least, in retrofitting projects, which was covered by Mr. Gera in the end, especially in heritage structures, where we are dealing with very brittle material, because masonry tends to be a very brittle material. In such scenarios, the use of steel is a very, very promising area, and it helps us to strengthen our heritage. Another point is that in heritage strengthening, the process is said to be reversible, because we do not want to change the aesthetic look of it. So steel sections and such steel members can be used out there temporarily, and whenever there is a better solution, it can be reversed. So there is a dual role that it plays out there of reversibility. Thank you. That's all from my end.
So, Vikas, I guess from a project management consultancy side point, you kind of look at the entire project life cycle, right, from the beginning to the end. So what would you add from that standpoint, as well as anything else you want to add from your, from a project monitoring standpoint, or how that has changed due to digitization?
So as we know, we do projects and so many stakeholders come together. Everybody comes with their own experiences and they are part in the project, right? So when I think of digitalization, I see people and I see tools and processes, right? In our construction and in steel construction, we know we have really good people who design and this, but we also have the bulk of our resources as whom we consider may not be right immediately for digitalization, right? All the site foremen, the site labor, how can we really get them to come on this platform for digitalization? So that's one aspect we need to tackle when we want to move ahead.
Right.
Tools for digitalization, we have so many of them in the market, and since different stakeholders come together for one single project, everybody brings their own processes in that tool, and it becomes very difficult to integrate for that particular project, right? So nobody wants to change their ways of working just because the other stakeholder is using some other platform. So ultimately, it comes to the processes. Like we heard, the physical things that need to be done, we cannot escape. We cannot digitalize manufacturing. I mean, I'm not talking in the terms of how we manufacture, but something that we need to produce, we have to. But then we have to look at digitalizing the processes. And for most of the, I would say, medium and small companies and this, we have to first start with understanding what processes we follow. Because although we have a way of doing things, we have not documented them and we have not really structured them to make them ready to be digitalized. And from there, we need to move ahead. So we have done a lot of work, and the push is there because of the pandemic and this, and we have to build on that. So.
All right. So I guess I'm going to pick up from something that you said about the different tools and how everybody is going to bring their own tools. So I guess, I mean, if we look at project life cycle, right? I mean, there's different models. If you think about it from a model standpoint, let's say a steel building. So there's going to be some sort of conceptual design that the architectural prepares, let's call it the client model, which is not a true representation yet. Then actually there is going to be an architectural model that will be built. Maybe it's a Revit or some other BIM platform, so that will be there. Then there will be engineering models. So the engineers will prepare their own models. There will be a structural model. The MEP engineers, I don't think we have anybody here today, but they'll have their own models. Then we'll have the structural engineers will have their analysis models as well. So in addition to the documentation model, so there's another set of models that will come in. Then there will be a documentation model, which kind of goes on top of that. Then from there, we go into construction. There could be something like a TECLA model, which is a construction/fabrication model. And then the contractor may put all of these together in something like a Navisworks or something where clash detection can be done. So all these different models, they're kind of based on data. So all this information is data-centric. And I think at some point, we need to realize that the model is the data itself. And at the heart of any digitization process is the data. And then how we deal with the data is what kind of makes it kind of all come together. So a lot of these big companies like Revit and MicroStation, they've started making tools which can talk to each other. So if I prepare a Revit model, and if from there, if I want to go to SAP or ETABS or some structural analysis model, it can go back and forth. Then same data can go into a TECLA model. The contractors can use the same data that can be forwarded to the fabricator. The steel manufacturers and fabricators can work on that. So, and I think one thing that you touched upon earlier, Bhupender, is also, when I talked about the architectural model, the parametric modeling tools. So you can literally run thousands of options in seconds to kind of come up with what the architect or the engineer is trying to do varying parameters and coming up with the optimal solution, whatever is required. So I guess my next question to you all is, in generally, what do you see in your own kind of fields or in the entire project cycles? What kind of tools have been using? Because yeah, let's talk about, and how have you seen that kind of either being an advantage or sometimes like a disadvantage, like you said, where they don't talk to each other. So maybe this time we can start with you and reverse the order if you don't mind.
So when it comes to construction and the tools that we want to use, only I'd like to add that there are so many tools available, and most of the times we already have these templates, and especially for project coordination and project project management. So we need to focus more on how we document the processes. And one thing I recently heard was to make sure that when we start new processes, start with site first. So something that works on site will be easier to be expanded upon in the office and then to digitalize it. So if we start something sitting in the office, it can be a very wonderful way of doing things. But when it goes on site, it hits a bottleneck. We are not able to execute it. We are not able to scale it up. And then the feeling is that, no, it's not working for us. I've seen so many efforts by entrepreneurs and who have started off, who have taken licenses for doing progress reporting and this on a digital level. And then they have given it up saying that it's not for us. We are not those people who can go on digital. So to escape that, we need to start something from the place where actually construction happens and build it back to our offices.
Okay, that's a good thought. Anything you would like to add, sir? Anything that you've seen in the industry, maybe not from the manufacturing standpoint.
No, from a manufacturing standpoint, I think where we would be lacking is that, as I told today, we have developed a lot of sections. But those sections would not be available in the structural designing models that are available. And since suppose we have developed a section of 400 into 160, which is not there in StatPro, which is not there in Tekla. So it doesn't get actually captured at the design stage. So I think from a manufacturer point of view and we should be interacting much more, and we should be having a sort of arrangement that whenever we do this, it gets updated. So that talking with the StatPro software and talking with the Tekla software, what we can do is that we do it manually. But if we do it something in which where we are able to digitalize it and give these details in, then probably we deliver much better value than what we are doing currently.
Yeah, no, I think that integration will be very valuable for the structural engineering fraternity. I could assure that. And I think, I mean, that in my days working in the US, I can tell you that, I mean, if there's some files that can be created which can talk to ETABS or StatPro or whatever software, we can just import that file, and if those files are available on the steel manufacturer's website or something, we can just download those before running a new model. If we update those files, then we have the up-to-date information. We don't have to manually look for, is this section available or not, or what is coming up in your mills and what are the sections that are available. So I think, no, that's a very, very valid thing. Bhupendra, what do you see in tools, and how do you see it kind of moving forward?
Yeah, so what I'll discuss now is about, it's like, plus and minus. We see many pluses for digitization. So it makes our life easier. Like I design, then I built also. So we see the complete project cycle, right from the very basic concept on the table, then developing its design, then integrating all other sciences into it, whether it is mechanical design, whether it is structural design, or any aesthetical elements which we are going to put into that model. And after that, we create the working drawings, and then we create the structure in itself, so give it a real life. During this complete process, if I see the plus points of digitization is that I need not to go anywhere. Everything is readily available. I can pick it from online resources. I can put it into my model. I can design it very well. I have everything available just on a click. But if I see towards its minus point, so it happens exactly like in today's curriculum, what we teach our kids is beta see this is brinjal, this is carrot. In earlier time, they used to go and experience it right in the field itself. Ki what is exactly the veggies, and nowadays we have to teach them. And the same thing happens with the people, whether these are our junior architects or engineers, we have to teach them exactly everything. This is nut, this is bolt, this is what. So that practical thing is somewhere lacking because of digitization, because they are seeing everything in 3D. Everything is there. But that experience that we used to go and at site, see it, feel it, touch it, that is somehow getting a backstage, because now nobody wants to go out in the sun. Everybody wants to work on a computer sitting in an AC environment. And specifically, if we add on further more modern technologies like VR and AR, they are to some kind of dream come true. Even without having a single piece of land, we are roaming around the complete facility virtually. I'm looking at every nook and corner of my design without even having anything in physical world. So that kind of experience is very good for integration of services, very good in terms of execution, because all the classes, whatever, sometime it happens, okay, we are putting the duct into the hall, and then suddenly we find out, oh, it was a very beautiful design structure element, or it was a very beautiful my ceiling element, so now it is being compromised. Nowadays, those kind of classes are already gone, because we have done, tested, tried on the physical model. But if I ask any of my junior person what exactly the gypsum ceiling is, they will draw it perfectly in the drawing. But if I go and at site, beta, what is this material? They will seek nook and corner, and they will try to hide in a corner without answering me. So that kind of minuses are there for the digitization, and plus are obviously more than minuses. So if we can still be touch with the physical thing and physical aspects, that will be great. Over to you, sir.
No, I think you are absolutely right. I think, it is not kind of replacing the actual experience. The term itself, the virtual reality, it's not the reality, it's virtual.
Little bit disagree with that. He has pointed out very correctly that earlier we used to go and see and feel, and now we are doing it through virtual. But whether earlier we were really going to see that? Okay, at least now we are getting an actual physical form in the virtual shape coming to you. Okay. Just a minute. Nitesh, Vishal ko phone kar lo Liora. Oh, he's waiting for me. Bolna bhi thodi der mein. So, what I say, the ball game is completely different. Now we have understood that we need rather than isolated independent working, manufacturer was there, designer, architect, fabricator, or building manufacturer, and then somebody erecting, and the client. And all were working in isolation.
Correct.
As you very rightly said, they were not talking to each other much. But now, when we say digitization, as you very rightly said, a particular software doesn't have the library of a particular new invented material.
Correct.
So, softwares will have to be upgraded so that they have a plug-in where each manufacturer, at least a registered standard manufacturer, should be able to access, upload their own new products. And immediately they should be available for use on a software. That is one thing.
Yep.
As a designer, I should be able to see those new developments. As a fabricator, I should know what trends are coming up. So there has to be a complete team game. So one very good advantage of digitization is that it's a big team formation, and for that you need a real good infrastructure. Earlier we were working on independent systems at our place, limited level of the technology. But now we are bound to have a better software or hardware.
Yep.
Another positive or negative, softwares are costly. So each one of us, if have to be a part of that framework, suppose Naviswork.
Yeah.
Everybody can't afford that Naviswork. So it has to be a pooled software either. For the same thing is for the Revit or Tekla. But if you want to make good use of the digitization, you have to have that similar set of the software, compatible software, where all of us can together play. That's very important. So, though more cost is involved, but certainly it has advantages of that. Piracy of software certainly would go away, if I say. Digitization will need that. So friends, a complete framework of all people from design, construction to operation, third part is operation, altogether one team, and some very good advantages I'll just list out. If I read, digital opportunities in operations are numerous. For industrial players, they mainly fall under the Industry 4.0 network. This Industry 4.0 framework is a standard digitization framework, which each one of us can see. And some of the entire thing can be clubbed into three. One is interactive work process, from where the things start. Connected machines, equipments, and workers is the second. Third is industrialized models. So this is the entire thing. I'm not reading in detail the things, but these three things have to be coordinated with all good machines, with skilled people together, and certainly this digitization will help us to not only make use of the good new material, but also deliver, optimize, and with several options, the final product. As you said, several options can be run in the parametric design with the aid of these software. So we are having that opportunity. So that our customer, end customer, ultimately objective is that end customer will receive a good product at a lesser cost. That is also the advantage, at a lesser cost. So that is the entire digitization which is going to give us. Thank you.
One other aspect that digitization is helping, not only the steel industry, but all the industries, is allowing us to test the materials of yesteryears and improve in the chemical constituents. In fact, I was just attending a seminar recently in which there was a lot of testing of the materials that was for masonry structures, where digitization was being used. And all the material, the sensors, they were all made of steel. So see, they are very, very required out here. Because with more testing and more upgradation in digitization, it's helping us to test more efficiently. And that is how we are getting stronger materials after testing and after changing the chemical constituents through digitization, putting the correct amount of material and the other constituents together, which is really helping in better materials today, better testing facilities at the end, which is all relating into good construction. Thank you.
Yeah, so that kind of is a good segue into what I was going to bring up next is, so you talked about one aspect or I guess two aspects we haven't talked about is actually the construction part of it. And so I'll get to that next. But since you brought it up, the Industry 4.0, or the final client, the person or the team that is going to use our product, which is the building or the factory or whatever it is, the steel project that we have created. So the facility managers, they take, and this has already started happening, they can take huge advantage of these integrated models that we have delivered, we as a design team or manufacturers have delivered. And I've really seen cases where, those, you can actually see kind of also bringing in the instrumentation part of that Nitin brought in. So on long span structures and like stadiums, we've seen that we've used sensors, deflection sensors, accelerometers and things like that, where you can actually real-time see the deflection of the material. So from a property management standpoint, I think that digital information and the model that we have designed kind of shows that. Kind of taking it a step forward for critical structures like retractable roof structures or something like that. So when to close a roof or when not to do it, if there's a storm approaching. So all those kind of parameters are continuously monitored from an operations standpoint. And you have, and this is not only obviously kind of limited to steel, but water resources engineering, anything that we kind of do, it is applicable to that. So does anybody quickly want to add anything on from a final product standpoint, facility manager standpoint, or anything to add? Okay. Then I guess let's turn to the construction part of it. And there's a lot of changes that are kind of happening in the construction industry because of digitization and then the new tools. We talked about retrofitting. So the data that can be collected from drone surveys and things like that can be immediately converted into a set of data-centric models which can create a 3D model. We've kind of started to see 3D printing or additive printing kind of technologies coming into steel and other kind of structures as well. On the job site, taking care of material, where it's stored, what piece went where. So I would like to get your all's opinion from a construction standpoint, where if you have seen in the recent years or in the past few years, if digitization has kind of moved ahead in the construction side as well. Because I know a lot of big contractors, they're taking huge advantage of this. And anybody can go.
Exactly, like I mentioned retrofitting. In that, this drone technology and all helps us actually get the 3D models which we can then simulate.
Yep.
And the more accurate that we simulate it, the better or the optimized sections we can provide for the retrofitting purposes. So that really helps in a lot of savings in due course.
Yep, absolutely.
And the most important thing, like I agree that there are lot many things which are available now digitally, and we can improve our construction, and there is like, practically no challenge. Right from the testing of anything now, especially the structural testing if we are doing. So now we have lot many options which are like, without breaking you can test the strength and everything. But the major important thing which helps us and which I used to face like, earlier and now, is that once we design, once we perceive, we certainly perceive it for some client, some end user. When we present it in the drawings, when we read, these drawings means a hell lot of things for us. It is like, complete castle for us. But when we present these drawings to a client who may be expert of some other industry, lines are simple line for him or her. And once it becomes to the construction, we are sure enough, we are like, constructing it as per the presentations or anything which we have given. Client comes in and say, oh my God, what is this? This I never agreed. So it was a very like, difficult situation in such scenarios. But now with the digitization, we can present them actual things like, see, this is what is going to be constructed. See, this is what is going to be built. Now you give the approvals on the right, these things, and then we can assure you that whatever we have shown to you, we will create it for you. So that's how it has made our life easier. It has made like, last end movement changes minimal. Otherwise, a lot of time, a lot of cost was going into the changes only. So the changes has come to the minimal point, whether it is because of the mind change, understanding differences, or maybe some classes into MEP, architectural engineering designs. So that way it has a like, a good point about the digitization.
All right, one additional point I was going to make, oh, sorry, you were going to say something?
And I just wanted to cite two actual case study examples, very small, short ones. The digitization in steel industry. We are talking in general about the overall construction. But in steel industry, when we talk about the RCC, all sections are generally rectangle, and we all understand rectangle just by saying a square or rectangle, that this is the shape, and we draw them by two lines and we understand. But in steel it is difficult. Again, if we draw two lines for an I section, then we don't understand. Many of us, many of the young engineers, they are unable to visualize and how it will get connected on the web or flange of another member. So that is one part of the digitization, means on the virtual side, that we are able to create the actual structure, and our young engineers are able to see, visualize, appreciate how the two members. In steel, it is very, very important to understand that connectivity of the two members.
Yep.
That is one thing. Because the members are thin, space is less. Theoretically, I may put a nut bolt there, but actually, I may not be able to carry my spanner there to tighten it.
Correct.
That's the agony of the steel. And when I issue the drawing on the site, I see I'm not able to tighten that bolt. It happens. So that thing is, we are able to check, do well. That is one advantage. Second, stacking, coordination between manufacturing, delivery and erection. In general, we have seen on a site that whatever is to be erected later is manufactured first and delivered on site. It's invariably happening. And then the material comes on the site and it just remains lying there because 100 members are there but 20 are not there, which are required at that stage for erection. But my digitization helps me right from day one to sequence my issue of the drawing to the floor, cutting of the material, manufacturing, dispatch, erection. That complete thing is coordinated, and it is really need of the hour on the steel industry.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we just put those 100 members stacked on the side in dust and dirt, and all painting is lost, and then there's a fight between client and consultant and all that. So that is another big advantage of digitization in the steel industry.
Yeah,
These
the
2 points I
supply,
wanted to.
supply chain management.
Supply
aspect of
chain
it,
management.
absolutely, and I think that's very critical. I think one thing I have to add is, so we've talked about all these different models and 3D and BIM and all these different things, but at the end of the day, we all issue two-dimensional drawings. And so I think, so we create all these models, but something that goes out on the site is a 2D drawing. So I think, and that has already started to change. We kind of are delivering Tekla files, and so it is kind of headed in the right direction. So that is good. And I think hopefully from a legal submission standpoint to the cities and to the municipalities, I think if that can be a approved set of drawing, I think that will make it better. I think we are kind of coming to about need to close this conference. So I think one kind of quick question to everybody, just since we're talking about how digitization is transforming everything, I want to kind of just get everybody's thoughts on where do you see that our industry, the steel industry, is headed, and in the next 5 to 10 years, what do you see coming, or what do you would like to tell the audience as a closing thought? We'll start with you.
I wouldn't be very sure in trying to forecast. When I was invited to come and talk, and this is an expert panel talk, I said I'm not an expert, so a little risky for me to come here. But I'd just like to say that we have to be very conscious of digitization and digitalization, because it's not very difficult to digitize. We used to write a letter and send it out. Now we send an email. It's the same thing that we are doing, but we are doing it in a digital way. When we talk of digitalization, we are looking at changing the process completely so that it becomes faster, it becomes scalable, and it adds more value to the whole work that we do, all the work that we do. So that would be one. When we take initiatives, we should try to see, are we simply digitizing what we are doing, or are we digitalizing and improving the way we are working, right? And I'd like to conclude, we need to remember what Malcolm Gladwell said, that what got us here will not get us there. So there's no choice. We have to change. We have to keep trying. Sometimes what we try may not really get the results, but then we need to start trying again, because the world will be very different 5 years down from here.
Thank you. Couple of thoughts?
Yeah, I think we'll move more and more into the cloud, as I said, be it in terms of design consulting, be in terms of, as Sir said, that probably the platforms will get shared and you don't have to actually buy networks, softwares to design your. That is one aspect that I see will definitely happen over the next 5 years. The other that I see in terms of from a consumer point of view is that as the manufacturers, we do keep on tracking our input costs. And it is available, and we do know that probably the prices will be going up in the near term. But it does not get conveyed to the consumer in as much words as it would want. So this data which is available now, I think consumers would be able to predict on a much better basis in the coming years that what could be an average price, because ultimately it is only the input cost plus a particular margin that a steel company makes.
Correct.
And the margin more or less remains same irrespective of the price cycle. So I think that is one aspect in which that probably the predictability in the price will be much better in the years to come.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We didn't have time to touch on any financial aspects of that. So please go ahead. Okay.
So what I see in future of steel is, nowadays if we compare it with any other material, whether it is board or anything, now we see like Tata structure team is here. So Tata is also having like, Pravesh doors. So that is one of the ideal product. And that looks like as exactly it is done in wood. So if I put that wooden door and if I put a steel door, that looks like same. But if I see the strength, the durability and all, so those kind of products which are imitating other materials, like maybe in look and feel it is looking like a board, but it is a steel. Maybe it is looking like gypsum, but it is steel. And nowadays, many other products also we are having. So that is one aspect the steel may go into future. And the second thing is, again, in situ construction are taking a backseat, and now it is like, prefabricated constructions are coming in picture. And because of that, that may be the second aspect in future where most of the things are already built, 3D printed or anything in factories, and they are just sent to the site and the building is ready within a matter of 2-3 days, and which exactly is happening in China and other countries. And in fact, in India as well, many companies who are working on this prefab concept. And the third aspect which I see in future that the industry may adopt, not only the steel industry, but I think the complete construction industry, that is the concept of digitally sending everything, where every person individually is able to order. As in case of Jindal, we heard that even the 5 kg cement is available and we can order it on Amazon. So that kind of concept will also adopt this industry. So where people are sitting at home and then ordering whatever they are looking for, and then it is delivered to at home. And maybe with the added service that if somebody is like, going like similar to this Urban Clap, and also somebody is going and getting erected it also. So these kind of 3 points which I see may be like, adopted in future in this industry.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm going to, regarding future of the digitization.
Yes.
I'm hopeful, but I have a negative remark here. In a country where structural consultants are paid much less than the flooring contractor and much less than the property broker of that property, digitization on normal projects is not going to be achieved in next 10-20 years. It is only a game of the major projects. Otherwise, we can't afford the cost of those machines and the softwares. It's very difficult. It's a Avneet, for you. Take up this. The scenario is bad. On the architectural side, things may be different, but when we talk of steel, it's more driven by the structural engineering fraternity. And we can't simply afford a TECLA license. Navisworks and other things are much beyond. We can't have those high-end machines. So it is good thing, but we probably need to change the mindset of the people. Thank you, sorry.
I would just like to bring a fact to everyone's notice. In the past, we used to construct with masonry because that was the natural building material available, and almost 80 to 84% of our construction is masonry in India. 16% around is RCC, and only 4% to around 5% is steel. So we've got a lot of way to cover in steel, a lot of way. And digitization will definitely help, but like sir has said, that aspect also needs looking into for the future. Thank you.
So I guess I'll just make one comment related to your comment, sir. I totally agree about the fees for the structural engineers, so in full agreement with that. But about digitization not moving it forward, I kind of respectfully disagree with that. I think 15, 20 years ago, when you were saying we were doing hand drawings, the AutoCAD, I get to look, who's going to do it for a small? So then we got to AutoCAD. Now we already talked about BIM. So it is kind of the natural progression, whether we like it or not. And as and when more and more people start using these tools, that's when the price will go down. I guess on that note, I think we'll conclude this session. I think I do believe that the digitization is here to stay. I think in every aspect of our life we have seen that, and steel industry is no exception. Yeah. So the sooner we accept the change and move with the tide, I think it'll be beneficial for all of us. So again, thank you to Steel Construction Summit, and that concludes the last session of the day. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the panelists.